Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, the Saturday games have seen the Crusaders beat the Rebels, the Blues beat the Force, and the Chiefs beat the Waratahs. Interesting kind of permutations from the results of these games. We'll go over them, some of the stats, some of the key events, and my thoughts, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how things went as well. The first one, Crusaders against the Rebels, 52-26, is a big old bonus point win, but it's not enough. It's not enough to see the Crusaders into the final. Obviously, I've had a sleep since all this happened yesterday. I remember about as much as I'm going to remember. I have had a chance to read a little bit of the social medias, and there's a wee bit of complaining about this one, but like honestly, the Crusaders scored some bloody phenomenal tries in this game. But I will also say credit to the Rebels for absolutely sticking to their guns in a game which for them didn't mean much at all. But there's some key defensive moments where they got up and held their line, where on another day they could have just rolled over because it wasn't them that was going to be going through to a final if they, got a certain margin. So, yeah, maybe the Crusaders, I think, are a bit guilty of chasing this game and trying to put all those points on before maybe earning the right to do so. But yeah, as I mentioned, a heap of good tries. They got two early. Drummond got one. Jordan got one. Kind of bang, bang. 14 points on the board after like 5 or 6 minutes. It's looking pretty hairy in terms of the points margin. But the Rebels managed to stop the momentum and got one through Hosea. McLeod got knocked out in the build-up, which was pretty unfortunate, seeing as he wasn't even supposed to be starting. It was Havili pulling out, which meant that he had to start, and he didn't last long, did Dallas McLeod. But 7 points to 14 at that point. Fainganuku got one. Great, that was maybe one of the tries of the game. The Fainganuku try, because the hands of Mataele to pass it over his head. Drummond he's being pushed out on a touch. He's still airborne, flicks it back inside. Like, phenomenal. Missed the conversion though, 19 points to 7. They got another one through, who was the next one? Reese. Reese got his first of 3, hat trick for him. Mo'unga's just got a lethal pass out to Reese, and Scott Barrett had a big role in the build-up for that one. So 26 points to 7. Once again, it's starting to look a bit hairy. If you're looking for positives for the Rebels at that point, at least the scrum's been competitive. Both sides are kind of trading penalties as to who's going to win one at scrum time, so neither side's really dominant. It does get a bit bad news for the Crusaders on 26 minutes because Will Jordan gets yellow carded, and I've seen that being one that people are having a wee moan about. And to be fair, that law does need some moaning about at times, because it's just one that you've seen it time and time again. That's the thing about this one. It's not new. It's nothing new. Seeing guys get yellow carded for failing to get an intercept is nothing new. You've seen it heaps of times. So I know people are saying, oh, he didn't mean to deliberately knock it on. He wasn't ever trying to deliberately knock it on. He was going for an intercept. Yes, I 100% agree. There's no way he was trying to bat that down just to prevent the Rebels from getting the pass. But that's the gamble, man. The roll of the dice these days has been that way for years. As if you miss it, you're probably going to get in strife. And sure enough, gets yellow carded. That being said, the Rebels went through a heap of phases with the extra man. Powell knocked it on, and Powell was having a bit of a mare. I thought, honestly, a bit of a nightmare. I wasn't very happy with old Joe Powell. I didn't think he was doing a very good job. And yeah, the Crusaders' defense did really well to hold with the man down. That being said, from there, the Crusaders make an unforced error, which is, like, I always think if you're going to criticize like refs and stuff, which I've seen a wee bit of, you need to also have a look at your own team to see, is there any key areas where we really stuffed up? That one's one, man. You can't be missing touch when you got a penalty with a man down. The Crusaders missed touch, and from that counter-attack, who scores? Joe Powell. He managed to bamboozle Enor and Bauer, and goes over for a try. They missed the conversion, so 26 points to 12, all from the Crusaders missing touch. Pretty costly. 37 minutes, the Rebels had their scrum penalty, winning it back again, but it didn't seem to do much because it was about 2 minutes later that Enor looked to be going over for a try. Enor manages to be delivered into a path with nobody around him. Not a soul. He just has to canter over to the line and dot it down. Somehow drops the ball. Goodness knows how. He'll have nightmares about that one. That one was a shocker. It was an absolute shocker. And again, it's an unforced error. So that's points that the Crusaders have left out there. I don't know what happened. He just kind of slipped it. unfortunate for him. You feel bad for him, but man, like I said, he'll have nightmares. The possession and territory stats are actually pretty even, but you look at the run meters and it tells the story of that first half. 243 to the Crusaders, 68 for the Rebels. The Crusaders are just trying to cut them to bits with ball in hand, and the Rebels' tackling percent is 73, which is pretty bad. The Crusaders are in the 90s, although they have conceded 2 tries. Second half, Will Jordan looks to have scored a try on 42 minutes, but Callaway, credit for running him down, man. And Will Jordan, he's got blistering acceleration, but maybe his top end pace is not as high as some of the other guys, because Callaway, I don't think, shouldn't have been able to run him down, but he manages to run him down. I have to go watch it back. I've only seen it when I watched the game. Amazing run from Will Jordan, amazing catch from Callaway to pull him into touch. So that's what I'm talking about, the commitment from the Rebels guys. But it was only a couple of minutes later that Reece scored anyway. All from kind of penalty into touch, the maul, the advantage, Drummond with the long pass. So yeah, it's like 31-12. Back on track for the Crusaders. Morgan kicks another penalty poorly, and he kicks that one dead. So it's another kind of unforced error in a game where you can't really afford those unforced errors. And sure enough, 6 minutes later, Rebels go 7 phases. They get advantage. Eventually a bounce pass to Vaihu, who gets the try for the Rebels. Quick ball was good to see. 31 points to 19, so it's getting a bit uncomfortable again for the Crusaders, and they're starting to have to maybe chase the game a bit. But every time the Rebels seem to score, the Crusaders bounce back. Reece got his hat-trick try tap from a maul, to be fair, and he just burrowed his way over, 38-19. But then Lomani got one from loose Crusaders ball. Maybe that's the one where you're looking at going, man, they're chasing the game, trying to score from their own 22. Korobidi pounces on it, gives it to Lomani. It's 38-26. Jaeger gets one in return, though. It's a tap from a second phase. He powers over. Back in bonus point territory, 45-26. Rebels get a yellow card under pressure, and Tamaiti Williams reaches out for a try. That one they said is not a try. That's one where I reckon the Crusaders are a wee bit unlucky. Tamaiti Williams one, they reckon he was inconclusive as to, because on field, no try. I don't know, man. For mine, that one looked like a try. 71, a Rebels try saver on Mataele. That was Lomani and Korobidi. But from them putting him into touch, the Crusaders managed to pinch the Rebels line out anyway. And Hall's pass to Enor was an absolute beauty. Enor goes over for a feel-good try, given that he'd blown the other one. 52 points to 26. The Crusaders are still just one score away. And they've still got 7 minutes, and based on the way that this game's been going, that's kind of plenty of time. The Crusaders had an on-field try to Fainga Nuku, but the TMO ruled there was a double movement in that one. That one I was probably like a 50-50. I guess if you looked at it in real time, there was seemingly a stoppage, and then he kind of reached out to dot it down. That'll be one whichever kind of camp you're in. If you're a Highlanders fan, you'll say definitely a double movement. If you're a Crusaders fan, you'll say that was definitely in place in the ball. Leota has a line break later. It's a crazy finish. Crusaders get a yellow card for Bryn Hall under a heap of Rebels pressure. The Crusaders defense holds, wins a penalty on their own line. There's drama, but eventually the Crusaders are stripped in the tackle and the game is done. They are short of the 33-point win they needed, but it's still a pretty convincing one. Goodness me, heaps of tries. Some disallowed ones, some controversy, but honestly, Crusaders maybe just let a few too many go. They were a wee bit unlucky for some, but also, yeah, some unforced errors, as I mentioned. If the Enor try goes over, if the Tamaiti Williams one gets awarded, if they don't kick that penalty not out, then the Rebels don't maybe score through Powell. So, yeah, heaps of other moments other than just the referee to look at, to be fair. Run meters 801 to 477. Huge running meters in this game. Possession in territory is also kind of even, with the Rebels actually edge 58% territory. Rebels tackling percentage is 71, which is still shocking. The Crusaders is pretty high, but they still conceded a few tries. Clean breaks 23-10. Knock-ons 9-8. Crusaders having one more. Will Jordan clocks up over 200 run meters in this game. Leota, the big man, has 61, which is pretty impressive in itself. But yeah, Crusaders just fell short, and they needed to see if the Force could do them a favour in the next game. And they couldn't. They came bloody close, to be fair. 21 points to 31. The Blues, it was a weird game to watch as a Blues fan because I was expecting us to have a bit of pressure on us. Maybe the mental edge is not quite there. Crusaders are more used to going into finals than the Blues at this point. And the Blues did start a wee bit shaky, but settled it down through a try through Satutu on 9 minutes. Faiane Tutalea created the opportunity for Reeks, and he got it. When I say Reeks, I mean Rieko Ioane, who got it to Satutu. And yeah, 7 points to 0. That's a pretty comfortable one. Strawn had to go off with an HIA for the Force, unfortunately, but that brought REBvCRU on. Bit of experience there at the back. The Force, I thought, were doing a pretty good job to keep the turnovers on the Blues because the Force were largely camped in their own half, but they were defensively able to shut the Blues down for that early period. But 27 minutes, Talea got one after 10 phases. Blues drew the whole game right, and then they went quickly left. Despite Rieko Ioane's pass being a bounce pass, Talea was still able to go over, made it 14-0. Zahn Sullivan had a great kick into the Force's 22. Like just one little bounce into touch, so it was a perfect one. And then from the Blues, there they were able to steal the Force's ball at line-out time, go through about 5 phases, and Papali'i went over, so 21-0. And then Satutu got one on 37 minutes. Christie with the line break, and 28-0 at halftime. 28-0 at halftime. The Blues don't even need a bonus ball. We're just looking to win. You're thinking, man, it's almost like fat lady singing time. Possession 65-35, territory 71-29, run meters 283-83. Blues lineouts 5 from 5, Forces 6 from 10. The Blues are dominating all areas of this game. Surely they can't choke it away. Bring on the second half. The Force, whatever they said at halftime, whatever oranges they gave them, it worked, man. Starts off with Kaitu'u getting a try in 48 minutes, flops over from a maul, 28 points to 7. Hello, maybe the Force are coming back into this one. Tavita Kurandrani gets one on 56, hits the ball at pace, goes over. All from a Tuipulotu conceding a pretty silly penalty to get the Force into that territory, to be fair. And then Heem later on gave a dumb penalty away on Oloafela, kind of taking him out of the game. So the Blues were kind of the masters of their own demise to a degree at that point. But yeah, just a bit of dumb rugby, to be fair. The Blues did finally stop the flow on 63 minutes. They won a couple of breakdown penalties. They opted to take the 3, which will take it back to a 3-score game. Made it 31-14. The Blues lineup was going shocking in the second half. But yeah, it was not pretty. Nuia got yellow carded on 69 minutes for... Oh, this one was a bizarre one. He was cleaning out Godwin at the ruck, and his arm managed to swing into Pryor's head. I thought it was pretty incidental, personally. Maybe I just had my Blues goggles on. But he gets yellow carded, and they say it's kind of only because there was no force that it wasn't a red. But that one was pretty brutal, I thought. To be fair, he didn't need to make the clean out. That's where the Blues made the number one mistake. Does not need to make that clean out at all. The Blues have already secured the ball. Just leave well enough alone, man. So, yeah, take it back there. 77 minutes. Carney gets a try. Extra man they had. It's all from a maul. He gets a 3-on-1. They get it out wide, 31-21, but that's the final way the game finishes in terms of the scoring. So the Blues dominant in the second half, but then the Force win the second half 21 points to 3. So a bit of a shocker from the Blues in the second half, but credit to the Force for coming back into it, man. It's not just the Blues stepping off the gas. It's the Force really showing us what they can do. And the Force haven't been an easy beat at all this season. They've only had one bad game in the Trans-Tasman season, so they haven't picked up any wins, but credit to them, man. They certainly showed some stuff. Possession and territory actually finishes pretty even, because the first half, remember I said Blues was 65 and 71 for possession and territory. Second half, it's the Force 70 and 72. Dominant. Clean breaks, though, is 9-3 to the Blues. Turnovers conceded as 16-17, so pretty high from both sides, to be honest. The Blues line out as a shocker in the second half. They finished 9 from 13. The Force finished 13 from 18, so neither side will be happy with that. Run meters 397 to 288. So if you compare that to the first game with the Crusaders, where what was it, like 400 to 800? Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a different style game. Fair few more scrums and stuff, but that Blues win, believe it or not, means the Blues get to host a final for the first time in God knows how long. I think it's 18 years. Unbelievable. I've already got a ticket. I can't not go, man. playing the Highlanders, which I think the Blues would maybe be happy with. Maybe the only way to win Super Rugby is to not have to play the Crusaders. I don't know. Crusaders have been pretty gutted not to be going to a final, but man, give someone else a crack just this once. Just this once. The last game is the Waratahs and the Chiefs. I don't know what to say about this game, man. 5 tries to 1 man. When was the last time we saw that? It's been a bloody long time. Wainui got his first one on 1 minute, gets another one on 14 minutes, and they're pretty easy, man. They just passes out wide. He's just in acres of space. The Chiefs were able to just kind of bunk the Waratahs up on one side and then open up on the other. Jacobson proved he's bloody good from the back of that scrum. Waratahs had their own moments, though. They were held up at one point on 26 minutes. BLUvFOR got yellow carded under a heap of pressure on their own line. But then the Waratahs would throw it not straight, so it was pretty brutal. 34 minutes, Nawani Tawase did get a try for the Waratahs. It was their only try of the game. It was a cross kick, impossibly high above his head. He manages to take it perfectly. So credit to Nawani Tawase for that take, man. Hell of a try after a good period of pressure. So 14 points to 7 at half-time. It's looking like game on. 2 tries to 1. The Waratahs have had more possession, more territory. Run meters are pretty even. But both lineouts have been shocking in the first half. 5 from 9 and 6 from 9. Not good. Execution pretty poor. Second half, Wainui completes his hat-trick on 45 minutes. It's a pretty early time to get a hat-trick. Great step. He had to actually work for that one more than the first 2. Pass from Trask in the build-up was good. 21-7. Wainui 52. I wrote, are you kidding? Jacobson still dangerous from the back of the scrum. Too much space once again. 28 points to 7. 63 minutes. There's a yellow card to the Chiefs lock WARvCHI. It's a head clash. And he gets yellow carded. That one was bizarre. I think that's maybe the worst yellow card of the weekend. And there's been a few bad ones this weekend, but even the home crowd was booing. The home crowd was booing that one because that was just totally incidental. I mean, I thought the Blues one with Niuia was kind of bad and that it was incidental contact. If you can't even touch somebody's head in any way, shape or form in the game, then there should be yellow cards every 5 minutes, surely. Anyway, he gets yellow carded. The Tars looked to have scored a try from that phase, but they had a foot in touch, so no go. Chiefs defense hold. They did get a try through Florence on 70 minutes, so someone from other than Wainui was able to get a try. Great finish to dot it down, to be fair. 35-7. Swinton gets a dumb clean out on Boshia's head, as if we weren't sick enough of that TMO in that game. But this one was probably a right call. He just shoves his shoulder into Boshia's head. So pretty dumb move from Swinton. He gets red carded. That might influence his Wallabies chances. I don't know. But not a good look. And then Wainui gets one right at the death. Yeah, no emotion from him pretty much. Stevenson set him up pretty well with that one. So, man, Wainui showed almost, like I said, no emotion for a guy who just scored 5 tries. Nawani Tawase gets 93 run meters, 2 clean breaks and 4 defenders beaten, but his defense is still pretty ordinary. 4 from 9 tackles, so he misses 5. Wainui 105 run meters, 6 clean breaks, 5 defenders beaten. Parise did dislocate his shoulder in this one, which is pretty bad news for his Wallabies chance as well, and for this game. It was pretty early on, so pretty disruptive. Run meters 448 to 574. Position 58-42. Territory 62-38. So the Waratahs have some pretty nice numbers, but clean breaks 18-7 in favour of the Chiefs. Both lineouts finish with pretty bad numbers, and the Waratahs tackling percentage is in the 70s. So there's a fair bit not to like about it. And that's the lowest point the Waratahs have scored all Trans-Tasman season. So credit to the Chiefs for kind of limiting the Tars, who have been able to score points. They've just been guilty of shipping a lot. But yes, some crazy yellow cards, some drama. And yeah, essentially, the sum total of this is the Blues are hosting a final against the Highlanders next week. So we look forward to that. There'll be a champion other than the Crusaders in a Super Rugby competition, other than AU, for the first time in a long time, which for me, as a non-Crusaders fan, will be a pretty welcome change. Hopefully for some other people, you'll get behind a team. Probably a lot of people get behind the Highlanders, to be fair. But anyway, hopefully it's a good game next week. If you are in Auckland, go buy some tickets, get along to the game. $20 for general admission. Although they'll charge you $6 processing fee and like $2 some tariff, so it's going to be more like 30. But anyway, hopefully we can get a good crowd to that one, and yeah, hopefully the Blues win, but we'll see. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Let me know your thoughts on the games. What did you think of the controversial decisions? What do you think of Sean Wainui and his 5 tries? What do you think about the Force's comeback in that second half? How well did you think the Rebels did, or how close did you think the Crusaders were to getting that result? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, Patreon in the description, buy me a beer, follow me on Twitter. Happy days. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later. Bye.